Once upon a time, in a tranquil monastery nestled among the mountains, there was a young monk named Kai. Every morning at dawn, he would sit by the gently flowing river, watching as the water glided along its crystal-clear surface, never stopping, never rushing. The serenity of the landscape merged with the rhythm of his breath, creating a profound sense of calm. One day, an elderly monk approached Kai while he meditated by the shore. With a warm smile, he sat beside him and said, "Young Kai, have you ever wondered how long a moment lasts?" Kai, thoughtful, gazed at the river and replied, "A moment is as brief as the sigh of the wind, as fleeting as the moon's reflection on the water." The elderly monk nodded, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "That is so, Kai. We are like those moments, born and fading, seeking something greater, something eternal. But we must learn to live in the moment, to embrace the eternity found in the ephemeral." Kai felt a lightness upon hearing these words, as though time itself had stopped for a moment. The waters of the river continued their course, and for the first time, he understood that although moments are fleeting, each one contained the essence of all eternity. The elderly monk closed his eyes and whispered, "Remember, Kai, each moment you live is a door to the eternal, if you know how to see beyond its fleeting nature." Kai, filled with peace, continued to gaze at the river, now knowing that in every breath, in every beat of his heart, eternity itself was present. That same night, as the monastery rested in the silence of the darkness, Kai couldn't stop thinking about the words of the elder. He quietly got out of bed and went out to the garden, where the moon softly illuminated the path. He walked slowly, as if each step were a meditation in itself. The cool air brushed his face, and the sound of crickets and rustling leaves surrounded him like a tranquil symphony. He reached the same river, now under the mantle of the night. He sat on the same rock where he had meditated in the morning. He looked at the water, which shimmered with the moonlight, creating dancing reflections that disappeared as quickly as they appeared. Are we really just moments? Kai wondered aloud. Or is there something more within us? Something that persists beyond the gap between one heartbeat and the next? The answer didn't come immediately. The river kept flowing, the moon kept shining, and Kai, deeply connected to the moment, began to feel something deep and mysterious within his being. He realized that, although he himself was just a moment in the vast eternity, that very moment was all he truly needed. Each breath, each thought, each sensation was a spark of eternity, briefly shining before fading away. But the spark didn't extinguish. It remained, somehow always present, even in its disappearance. Kai closed his eyes and let the wind caress him, surrendering to the feeling of being part of everything around him. He understood that moments were not only fragments of time but also of consciousness. Maybe, he thought, eternity isn't something sought outside of us, but something found in the way we live each moment, with full attention and without attachment. With a light heart, Kai stayed there, under the starry sky, recognizing that in every moment, no matter how brief, he could touch the eternal. The next morning, the sun rose slowly, tinting the sky with shades of orange and gold. The monastery was waking up, but Kai was already on his feet, once again by the river. Sitting in his usual spot, he felt that something had changed within him. The world seemed the same, but now everything had a different quality. Deeper, more purposeful. The elder monk appeared, as if he had been waiting for him, and sat beside him without saying a word. Both of them watched the river, observing how the waters continued their tireless dance, regardless of the seasons, unaffected by the passage of time. Finally, the elder spoke in a calm voice, as if his words were part of the river's continuous flow. Have you found what you were looking for, Kai? The young monk, gazing at the waters, responded with a calmness that surprised even himself. Yes, master. I have understood that it's not about seeking eternity in some distant place, but about finding it in each moment, in each breath. The elder nodded slowly, satisfied. That's it. Moments are like the waves of the sea, always coming, always going. But if you know how to see clearly, you will realize that the essence of the ocean never changes. It's just that in each wave, the essence manifests differently. Kai nodded in silence, reflecting on his words. At that moment, a bird flew overhead, its soft song floating in the air. Kai watched it with a new understanding. The bird's song, the river's waves, the breeze, everything was a manifestation of the same eternal energy flowing through him. Each moment, thought Kai, is a manifestation of the eternal, a fleeting reflection of the infinite. Eternity is not something that can be attained. It is something that is already here in every moment. With a serene smile, Kai stood up and walked toward the temple. His steps, light as the wind, were a meditation in themselves. Life was not a journey toward a distant destination, but a series of perfect moments, full of stillness and peace, just as they are. In the following days, Kai continued his meditation routine by the river, but he no longer saw time the same way. The moments seemed more expansive, more complete, and he realized that he could find the same peace in a single breath as in an hour of deep meditation. Eternity was no longer out of reach, nor in a distant future, but resided within him, in his awareness of the here and now. One day, the elder monk approached him again, as if he knew what Kai was experiencing, as if his heart resonated in tune with his. What have you learned, young Kai? Kai, looking at the river, responded without haste, as if the words emerged from the silence he had cultivated within himself. I've learned that eternity is not a place, nor a distant time. It is a state of being. It is the stillness that resides in every moment, the reflection of the infinite in the finite. The elder smiled, his eyes full of wisdom. Exactly. Eternity is not found in the future or in the past, but in the present. Each moment is a door that leads you to the eternal, but only if you are able to see beyond appearances, to look with eyes of understanding. Kai understood that, just as the river's waters flowed endlessly, he too must learn to flow with life, without clinging to what passes, or to the moment that fades. The key was not to seek eternity, but to recognize it within himself, in each breath, in each thought, in each action. We are moments, yes, Kai reflected, but these moments are like the waves of the sea, coming and going, but never ceasing to be part of the ocean. We too are part of the eternal. The elder looked at the young monk with an expression of deep understanding. Without saying another word, he stood up and walked away, leaving Kai in his deep meditation. As the days passed, Kai began to see the world with different eyes. Every action, no matter how small, seemed significant to him, a reflection of the deep connection between everything that existed. As he walked along the monastery path, he would stop to watch the leaves slowly fall from the trees. He saw them not as mere objects of nature, but as moments gliding to the ground with an almost eternal grace. One day, while meditating under an ancient tree, a child from the monastery approached him. He held in his hands a flower freshly picked from the field. He looked at Kai with curiosity and asked, "Monk Kai, why do you sit here all day? Don't you get bored?" Kai, smiling gently, replied, "No, little one, there is no boredom in silence. In stillness, one can hear the music of the universe." The child looked at him, confused, and sat beside him. "Music of the universe?" he asked, his eyes wide open. Yes, Kai said, looking up at the sky. The wind, the song of the birds, the sound of water in the river, all of that is music. Life itself is a melody that never stops. The child smiled, though he didn't fully understand what Kai meant, but something in his heart resonated with the monk's words. At that moment, the child let go of the flower he was holding and let it fall to the ground, as if in doing so, he was letting go of something else. When Kai saw the flower fall, he realized that, although it seemed fragile, the flower too was eternal, for its essence lived in the cycle of life, in the constant flow of time. We are like that flower, thought Kai, beautiful in our fragility, but part of something much greater, something that never ends, it only transforms. The child, seeing Kai's serene expression, stood up and walked away, leaving behind a sense of calm in the air, as if the flower he had released carried with it a seed of wisdom. That night, Kai woke up to the soft rustling of leaves outside his window. The mountain wind brought with it a whisper, like a distant voice, that seemed to call him towards the river. Without thinking much, he got out of bed and went outside, where the full moon bathed everything in its silvery light. When he reached the river, he saw that the water, now reflecting the moon, seemed to glow with a serene intensity. Kai sat in his usual spot, closed his eyes, and began to breathe deeply, allowing the silence to take over his mind. In that moment, he remembered the words of the elder monk, which still resonated in his heart. Each moment is a door to the eternal. But, he thought, how can I truly understand this eternity I seek? Kai looked at the river, observing how each drop of water reflected a part of the moon, only to dissolve and merge with the whole in its continuous flow. Perhaps, he thought, eternity is not about a destination, but about learning to be part of that flow, like a drop of water that becomes part of the river. Suddenly, Kai heard a faint rustling behind him. He turned around and saw the elder monk, who had silently come to his side. Without saying a word, the elder sat beside him, sharing the silence of the night. After a long while, the elder spoke softly. You know, Kai, humans live as if time were something that can be possessed, as if each moment were a possession. But time cannot be caught. Like the river, it always flows towards the future, carrying with it everything it touches. Kai nodded slowly, watching the current. And what should we do then? The elder smiled and, with a voice full of compassion, said, the only thing we can do is learn to be part of the flow, to live with the rhythm of life, without clinging to anything. Eternity is found in that flow, in letting oneself be carried by the natural course of the moment. For the first time, Kai felt a deep peace. He understood that he didn't need to seek eternity somewhere outside of himself, because it was already within, in the dance of each moment he lived. The sun began to rise slowly, tinting the sky with a soft pink hue. Kai and the elder remained in silence, watching as the light of day gradually dissipated the shadows of the night. There was no rush, no urgent thoughts, just the deep stillness that arose from being present in that moment. Kai, with a clear mind and a heart full of peace, slowly stood up and looked at the elder. Master, I no longer feel that eternity is something distant, but I wonder, how can I live this understanding in the world? Time keeps moving forward. People keep struggling. How can I remember that each moment is eternal amidst all of that? The elder monk looked at him with eyes full of understanding and smiled. What you're seeking is not an escape from the world, but a way to live in it with full awareness. Eternity is not a concept that can be understood only with the mind. It is something that is lived with the heart. Every moment is an opportunity to remember the eternal, but you don't need to retreat from the world to find it. On the contrary, it is in the heart of daily life that eternity is revealed. Kai thought about his words and saw, for the first time, that he didn't need to escape from everyday tasks or the difficulties of the world. Every moment, even the most mundane, was an opportunity to embrace peace, to live with full presence. Every conversation I have, every step I take, is an opportunity to touch the eternal, Kai reflected. There is nothing separate from the divine. Everything is part of the same flow, the same dance. The elder, seeing the awakening in Kai's eyes, added, "That's right, young monk. What you see as an instant is just one form of eternity. If you live with attention and compassion, every action becomes an expression of the infinite." Kai smiled, grateful for the teaching. He knew that the journey toward understanding the eternal was not something that would end in a single day, but the seed had been planted in his heart, and it grew with every breath. As the days passed, Kai lived each moment with a new serenity. He no longer sought eternity in grand events or external achievements. He found it in the small gestures, the scent of the earth after the rain, the sparkle in a child's eyes, the warm smile of an elder, the sound of leaves falling. One afternoon, while walking along the monastery path, he crossed paths with the same child he had seen before. This time, the child was holding a stone in his hand, gazing at it with great concentration. Kai approached him and asked, smiling, "What do you have in your hands, little one?" "It's just a stone," the child replied without lifting his gaze. "But I can't stop looking at it. It has something special." Kai crouched beside him and, looking at the stone, saw that it was not an ordinary stone. It had a smooth, curved surface, as though it had been polished by water over many years. In its texture, in its shape, he felt the story of the moments that had shaped it. "This stone," said Kai, "is a reflection of what we all are. We are moments, but each of those moments shapes us, polishes us, turns us into something deeper. In every fragment of time, we are being transformed, not into something different, but into the pure essence of what we already are." The child lifted his gaze and smiled, understanding something deep within his being, though his words could not express it. Kai continued walking, now with a new understanding of his own being. The days passed, but each of those days felt eternal in its own essence. And as he lived in the present, not clinging to either the past or the future, Kai understood that eternity was not a concept that could be grasped by the mind. Eternity was an experience lived in the breath, in the present moment, in the stillness of the heart. With every step, Kai knew that life itself was the greatest of gifts. Time flowed, but he did not fear its passage. On the contrary, he embraced each moment, aware that, although we are but moments in the vast river of existence, each of those moments was woven with eternity itself. And so, Kai lived in the peace of knowing that, although we are moments, we are also the totality of the eternal.